It's Friday, December 19th. This is CTV at 6. Here's what's making news tonight. Cancellations as heavy rain and intense winds move into the Maritimes. The latest Avatar aims to dominate theaters over the holidays, but does it live up to the hype?
The worst of the weather moves through tonight, but we will still be left with some gusty winds to get the weekend started.
Live from our Maritimes News Center, this is CTV News at 6. Here is Todd Battis.
It is a wicked night out there. Good evening. More than 33,000 Maritimers, the vast majority in Nova Scotia, are without power right now. Let's go to the CTV Weather Center. Meteorologist Kalen Mitchell, you've been watching this all day.
Yeah, and the main part of this weather system is now just beginning to make its way into the Maritimes. So the strongest of the winds still out over the Gulf of Maine, but basically work their way through much of the region between now and around midnight, with some exceptions, including eastern areas of Nova Scotia, Cape Breton, which may remain with some stronger winds into the early morning hours of Saturday. The weather is being accompanied by quite a bit of rain as well. We can see we're into some initial bands of rain. There is still more to come, and within that rain, there have been some evidence that there's some embedded or isolated downpours and even a few small thunderstorms. And if you happen to catch a couple of those as this weather system moves through, it could bump up, at least locally, some of the rainfall totals. Let's take a look at the winds. So these are current winds, what's being reported right now. You can see they've increased the most around southwestern areas of New Brunswick, including now at Fredericton, which is reporting a sustained wind at 50 kilometers per hour. So it's a sustained wind, not a gust. We're also seeing some sustained winds between 40 and 60 kilometers per hour at times around the southwest of Nova Scotia. Halifax International Airport just shy of a sustained wind at 48 kilometers per hour. Taking a look at the wind gust, Fredericton right now is gusting to 90. We also have a wind gust at 81 kilometers per hour at Briar Island. Remember, this is the start of the strongest of the winds, and it will generally shift from here across the Maritimes over the next 2 to 4 hours. So taking a look at precipitation and wind gusts on our timeline then, you'll see those peak wind gusts sort of bump up as we head towards 9 p.m. for much of the region, and the potential for those areas underneath wind warnings of seeing some gusts between 80 and 110 kilometers per hour. The very strongest of those gusts most likely on exposed areas of the coast and at higher terrain. Another exception that we should mention is northern Inverness County and Cape Breton, which tonight, because of the topography of the Cape Breton Highlands, could peak with some gusts of 130 kilometers per hour. Now, during the overnight, many parts of the Maritimes turn over to a westerly wind, which will then continue to blow across the region on Saturday with some gusts between 40 and 70 kilometers per hour. So not quite as high as the peak winds for tonight, but it's still going to be a windy day for tomorrow. And there'll be a scattered mixture of some flurries and some showers in those winds. There are some weather warnings, of course, in effect for the region. I'll have update on that and the storm system as a whole when I'm back a little bit later on, Todd.
All right, we'll see you then. Of course, all that weather sparked early preparations and cancellations region-wide. Here's CTV's Vanessa Wright.
Tonight, much of the Maritimes is hunkering down as a powerful storm makes its way through the region.
I got lots of water at the house and lots of food for the cats, and the next thing I have to do is charge up my cell phone.
We have a lot of good things to eat, and we have eggnog and rum, and we're fine.
On the Friday before Christmas, Halifax Regional Municipality has activated its Emergency Management Center, encouraging people to stay safe.
So obviously we're saying to people, if you don't need to travel, please stay off the roads and allow our first responders and emergency services to respond to any emergencies that may occur. And also, after the storm passes, maybe check in on your neighbours or people you know who may be vulnerable.
In St. Stephen, New Brunswick this morning, NB Power had crews on standby. The province is expecting heavy rain and winds tonight. Nova Scotia Power says people should expect outages.
In events like this with high winds, we do tend to see tree branches or trees to come in contact with power lines. So there may be some outages sporadic across the province.
Now, both utilities say people can go online to look at their outage map. And just about a half hour ago, it showed close to 30,000 Nova Scotia Power customers affected so far by this storm. Send it back to you, Todd.
Vanessa, thank you very much for that. We can report that number has now increased. We just did the math. In New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, it's roughly around 42,000 customers now in the dark. And not surprising then that this weather event is impacting travel. Let's go to the region's largest airport, Halifax Stanfield. That's where we find CTV's Jonathan McGuinness. John, what's it like there?
Well, Todd, it's actually pretty quiet here for what is the most hectic time of the holidays for maritime travelers, with people flying home for Christmas or flying out to spend time with family and friends. There were hugs all around today as flights landed at Halifax Stanfield International Airport.
Oh, it's so exciting. I never get to see my family because I'm studying in Montreal, so it's good to see them. It's good to see my friends.
Robin Lonis's parents are glad she made it, as a weather system bringing high winds and rain is taking aim on the Maritimes. Her father, Danny, started keeping a close watch earlier this week.
About 3 days ago. Yeah, just checking, any storm systems. We knew about the one that's coming through here.
The storm is coming at an inopportune time.
So we're heading into one of the busier weekends over the holidays. Today in particular, we would expect to see over 5,500 passengers going in and out of the airport today. And
hopefully we're around the cusp with that, but we'll see.
Joe Doyle is heading to Edmonton to visit his daughter and grandchild.
Hopefully we miss that and we get out on time.
Advice from Tiffany Chase is to always check ahead to confirm flights are on time. But if a passenger gets to the airport and there's a cancellation, there are plans in place to help.
We do have supports for folks if they were to be stranded here for longer periods of time, and so there are airport staff that are available to support folks in that instance.
Because flights aren't only affected by the weather here, storms in any city along the flight route could disrupt holiday travel plans. And Todd, there are definitely more delays and cancellations on the board than earlier today. You can see the screen here behind me is becoming quite colorful. So we know now that there will be some people who are having to make alternate plans to get home for the holidays.
Yeah, that's always stressful, John. And no doubt if you're traveling or you're looking to pick somebody up or drop somebody off, as we heard, check with the carrier. Thank you very much, John McGuinness at Halifax Stanfield International. And a reminder, for weather updates and to follow cancellations, you can visit our website, ctvnewsatlantic.ca. Okay, to other news of the day now, when a man is facing attempted murder charges after shots were fired in East Preston, Nova Scotia yesterday. 42-year-old Colin Edward O'Malley of Lake Loon faces multiple charges, including attempted murder. It happened in the morning on Highway 7. A woman was driving when a man got out of his vehicle and fired shots in her direction. The woman was not injured. Police say the incident was an act of intimate partner violence. Another major lobster facility in our region has been destroyed by fire. The live lobster storage unit at Stonehaven, New Brunswick, was largely leveled by fire, which broke out yesterday afternoon. There was no one in the building at the time. The chief of the local fire department told CTV News the building was a total loss. The plant is located about 20 minutes from Bathurst on Highway 11. The fire marshal was back on the scene today. The family-run business has been operating for 4 generations. No cause of that fire has been made public. The murder case of a Nova Scotia woman who was found in a burned-out garage was back before a judge today. As CTV's Callum Smith reports, the man accused of killing her will soon learn if he'll get bail.
It's been more than 8 years since Laura Ross's body was found in this burned-out garage on her South Rawdon property.
Laura was intelligent, she was wise, she was athletic, she was strong, she was determined. She admired her family, her children, her friends.
Investigators said the fire was deliberately set and her death a homicide. Police charged then 27-year-old Joshua Kroll with second-degree murder 3 months later, but the Crown dropped the charge in 2019. Fast forward almost 7 years to 2 months ago, RCMP said there was new evidence and Kroll was arrested and the second-degree murder charge was laid again. RCMP have never said the relationship between Ross and Kroll. Today, nearly 9 years after Ross's death, Kroll appeared in Nova Scotia Supreme Court in jeans and a hoodie, sitting between 2 sheriffs near his lawyers for a bail hearing. It was a full-day hearing, but details of testimony are under a publication ban. Ross's mother says there is no such thing as closure.
Grief is the cost of having loved someone. And when you love a child, that love never goes away. You love that child forever. And because of that, the grief is forever. And because of that, there is never closure.
The judge reserved his decision until January 9th. Callum Smith, CTV News, Halifax.
The owner of a long-established auto parts store in one maritime community is fed up with break-ins. The latest smash and grab played out on security video. As CTV's Josh Smith reports, thieves knew exactly what they were after.
Surveillance video from last month shows a break-in at a local auto parts store in Petitcodiac. Suspects quickly smashing their way inside and leaving before police arrive.
They knew exactly what they were looking for and what they were grabbing.
Store owner Calvin Hicks says the financial impact is significant.
It is discouraging because we're between 15 and 20,000 between damages and product gone. Our insurance rates keep going high, and they're really high.
A week after Hicks' store was broken into, a similar robbery took place at a Port Elgin store where thieves tried to steal an ATM machine. Police confirm both cases are unresolved.
It makes you wonder. I mean, it's not going to close us, but it's still hard.
The fact that police aren't saying anything doesn't mean they're not doing their job.
CTV public safety analyst Chris Lewis says what's happening here mirrors a national trend.
A clear video doesn't necessarily identify anyone. Depends on how clear, how good are the images of faces. License plates generally mean nothing because they're stolen vehicles or stolen plates.
Lewis says the public can assist police.
The public sometimes know or suspect who individuals are, whether it's because they've seen them on video or they've heard things in the community, or sometimes people have told friends that they've done things, but the friends don't want to come forward and tell the police.
Lewis says small businesses have to continue to beef up security.
I didn't ever want to do is be putting bars and stuff up. We have grates that are going to go over the windows, just to hopefully deter them from doing it again.
And experts say there's no single answer for the increase of the crimes.
And they see that jewelry stores are being hammered, so they look at using that same brazen approach. When they see people going to jail in other communities, they might have second thoughts too.
Josh Smith, CTV News, Petitcodiac, New Brunswick.
The long-awaited final report into undiagnosed neurological illness, the so-called mystery brain disease in New Brunswick, will be delayed until January. The Chief Medical Officer of Health said in a statement that they're waiting for more feedback from partners like the Public Health Agency of Canada. The undiagnosed illness has troubled the province since a group of 48 patients were studied in 2021. More patients were added to that list 2 years later. An analysis of all patients began in March of this year, and the results of that is what's expected to be released next month. Well, this has been a long time coming. For the first time in 30 years, New Brunswick is allowing more seniors to access subsidized home care. It comes at a time when the issue is top of mind for many families. CTV's Laura Brown has more.
There are almost 500 people, mostly seniors, waiting in New Brunswick hospitals for a nursing home bed, which has put more of a focus on how home care services could play a part in changing that issue.
Anytime that we can help seniors come out of hospital and go return to their home safely with supports in place, that's a good day.
For the first time in 3 decades, the province is increasing the income threshold for seniors and people with disabilities to access subsidized home care services. But because it's been so long, the threshold of how much people can make in a year to qualify is still quite low. $27,500 for an individual, $38,500 for a couple. When asked if that's sufficient.
No, 10% is a start though. Just like the minister said, we have to start somewheres. We have to be reasonable. We are approaching 25% of our population in New Brunswick being seniors. You know, in the next several years, 10 or 15 years, I don't have the exact number, but the number of 75-year-olds we have in New Brunswick is going to double.
The minister couldn't say how many more people this will help, but about 2,100 existing home care clients will have to pay less for the service.
We have to make sure that we put some resources for them in their environment to make sure that their environment is safe for them.
It will cost about $10 million to make the change and will be applied on New Year's Day. Laura Brown, CTV News, Fredericton.
Get the Maritimes' top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
A shelter in New Glasgow designed to help the homeless has instead become a source of friction. Locals don't feel safe Even the family who it's named for doesn't want to be associated with it. CTV's Emma Convey reports.
This homeless shelter downtown New Glasgow was at full capacity every night. It was once an emergency shelter, but demand forced an expansion.
We had to increase our capacity to 20 beds because the need grew. So in 2022, we moved up here and built these snuggies.
Mental health and addiction, medical and housing support. Services the town's mayor says are necessary.
I've heard the number of 90% of the clients require addiction and mental health services, so obviously that's really important.
But safety is also important to the community, which led to a meeting where 250 people attended. The main finding, people are scared.
Very serious impact on the neighbors surrounding the shelter. They are exposed to things that, you know, are not what you would expect to be exposed to living in a home.
Not long after, a petition was created and signed by over 600 people.
Relocate the shelter to a less residential area where it can have the infrastructure and the services it needs to be successful.
Whether we're here in another neighborhood, no one's probably going to want a homeless shelter in their community.
New Glasgow police are getting about 20 to 25 calls a month involving the shelter.
When we look at that specific vulnerable population, when we talk about mental health and substance use disorder, that number grows astronomically.
The town has asked Viola's Place to make changes, including a new name, which was requested by Viola Desmond's family.
They wanted a gate here and security, which we're in the process of moving forward with. The only thing I really want the public to know is that once that gate goes up, it's segregating another piece of the population.
I think that they mean well, but I don't think that they have the tools, the infrastructure, and frankly, the oversight to run that organization the way it needs to be to address the problem. The problem is so massive, and it goes far beyond the town of New Glasgow.
A problem that will take time to solve. Emma Convey, CTV News, New Glasgow.
We'll take our first break on this Friday night. Still ahead, Kaylin has a timeline of that wind and rain and when things might be settling down a bit. But next, support for the port.
We're proud that we're going to be well over 200,000 TEUs, 20-foot equivalent containers, probably trending closer to 240 by the end of this year.
It's been a banner year for the Port of St. John. Could 2026 be even bigger? I'll tell you about that after the break. It was a record-setting year for the Port of St. John. New additions and growing partnerships are building back what used to be one of Canada's prime ports. As CTV's Avery McRae reports, even more is on the horizon.
2025 is a year Port St. John CEO Craig Bell Estabrooks won't soon forget.
We're proud that we're going to be well over 200,000 TEUs, 20-foot equivalent containers, probably trending closer to 240 by the end of this year. So that's a dramatic increase considering we were about 86,000 4 years ago.
The addition of 2 new larger container cranes and the completion of a 10-year, $247 million modernization project grabbed the headlines. But Bell Estabrooks says it's the growing port partnerships that have been the biggest contributor to a record year.
CPKC Rail, DP World, ourselves, Hapag-Lloyd, JD Irving, we all come together when there's opportunity, when there's challenges, and we sort things out.
New to enter the growing list of port partners this year was Americold, who in May broke ground on its $100 million first import-export hub in Canada. According to the company, there is no other place with partnerships of this magnitude.
The opportunity to bring everybody together in one location is pretty unique across the world, and the fact that we had that opportunity here made it a no-brainer.
Supply chains can be built around a port that wants to see business development growth and that wants to create jobs for Canadians, wants to build a more resilient supply chain for Canadians.
As for what this could all mean for 2026,
we've got big plans, both in an annual capital budget basis that we've passed through our board, and we've got big plans with the National Trade Diversification Fund that is set to come out in January.
One area of the port that remained stagnant in 2025 was the American Iron and Metals property along the harbor, which has been quiet ever since a toxic fire occurred in September of 2023. Craig Bell Estabrook says there is no update on the site, which to his knowledge still has not been remediated. Ava McRae, CTV News, St. John.
Still to come, we'll take a look beyond tonight's weather into the weekend. Get a sense of what's heading our way as we march towards Christmas. Kayla Mitchell has the full forecast after this timeout.
News doesn't wait, and neither should you. At home, at work, and on the go, stay connected with a team you can trust anytime, anywhere. CTV Atlantic and ctvatlantic.ca. Watch live on Crave.
It's rainy and 12 degrees in Yarmouth, and that's one of those areas, of course, down the southwest of Nova Scotia. Kayla Mitchell, you were saying it's, you know, it starts there. It's going to make its way through the region. Yeah. Should mention as well that now at 6:26, just under 45,000 customers. Yep. Primarily Nova Scotia.
Yep.
A lot of them are in New Brunswick. Not really much to speak of in terms of outages in Prince Edward Island. That's ticked up a few thousand in the past half hour, so we're starting to see those numbers grow as the, I guess the wind primarily starts to
really ramp up and move through. Yeah, and once again, we're going to be getting into the windiest period for this weather system for much of the Maritimes between around now and midnight, and then there'll be a brief diminishment or lull in those winds through the early morning hours of Saturday, and then they pick back up during the day on Saturday. They won't be as strong as they are tonight, but you are going to notice the wind tomorrow in the Maritimes as well, and it'll be out of a different direction. Tonight's winds out of the south, tomorrow's winds out of the west, and they'll be a little bit chillier because of that.
I was going to ask if that does anything to the temperature. You answered the question.
Yeah, that's right. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Let's take a look at how this wet weather is going to be clearing through. We'll go through this quickly because we've talked about this a couple times already tonight. But the rain with the weather system moves from west east across the Maritimes, mostly between now and a few hours after midnight. After that, it's up into areas of Newfoundland. We're looking at picking up some general rainfall amounts out of this weather system between around 15 and 40 millimeters, which during the summer wouldn't be a big deal for us in the region. In fact, this past summer, boy, we could have really used that rain. But at this time of the year, the ground is frozen, so it has a diminished capacity to sort of absorb that rainfall. And there'll be a little bit of snow and ice melt for parts of the Maritimes as well, just adding to some of that runoff. And that's one of the reasons why we've had these rainfall warnings issued for parts of the region. These will be a few areas in the Maritimes where it looks like there is the highest chance of maybe seeing some isolated embedded downpours with this weather system. There has been some of that as it's come up through the northeastern United States, a couple small little thunderstorms popping up. So rainfall warnings continue in around the Bay of Fundy coastline in New Brunswick, including the entirety of Charlotte County, parts of the Kennebecasis Valley, and in Nova Scotia in around the Minas Basin area, Halifax County, Lunenburg County, and extending across the east of the mainland, Eastern Shore, North Shore, and into Victoria County in Cape Breton. The winds are probably the big concern with this weather system, though. Again, ramping up, we've seen some peak gusts reported around exposed areas of the coastline, already close to 90 kilometers per hour, and one inland gust at Fredericton at 90 as well. And the stronger winds continue to develop here over the next couple of hours, but by the time we get to around midnight, western areas of New Brunswick and the southwest of Nova Scotia should be through about the worst of it. Now, stronger winds will still be present at midnight around parts of Prince Edward Island and the east of Nova Scotia, where they are expected to linger in Cape Breton until, say, around 2, 3 a.m. before the wind direction changes over towards the west, and you get that brief period of diminishment. After that, though, moving from Saturday morning into Saturday afternoon, winds generally from the west for the Maritimes. There'll be some fairly widespread gusts between 40 and 70 kilometers per hour. Taking a look at the wind warnings in effect, they're out for northern and northeastern areas of New Brunswick. That was an area added into the wind warnings from this time yesterday. And southern areas of New Brunswick remain underneath the wind warning, as does Prince Edward Island areas of Nova Scotia. As Todd mentioned, we've seen some scattered power outages already because of this weather system and some disruption to some travel services, especially the ferries. If you're planning on the ferry travel services, including the one across the Cabot Strait, you may want to check on those service providers' websites for the latest updates. Low temperatures in the forecast for tonight, they do begin to fall as the winds become westerly in behind the front. So down to around the low to mid single digits for Nova Scotia at the start of the day for tomorrow. Pretty close to the freezing mark for PEI and southern areas of New Brunswick, and below freezing for northwestern areas of New Brunswick. Be careful about any wet surfaces turning icy. Highs in the forecast for tomorrow. These will mostly occur in the morning with temperatures falling a few degrees in the afternoon in that west wind between around -1 and -5 for northern areas of New Brunswick. For central and southern areas of New Brunswick, high temperatures tomorrow mostly between -3 and 0. Maybe gets up to +1 for St. Stephen first thing in the morning before temperatures come down into the afternoon. Prince Edward Island for tomorrow with high temperatures between 0 and 2 degrees. In the east of Nova Scotia and Cape Breton, high temperatures around the mid-single digits. And then for the North Shore and Eastern Shore, between 3 and 5 degrees. Cumberland, Colchester, Hants counties, Halifax County, Lunenburg County for tomorrow. Most of the high temperatures expected to be between 1 and 5. In the Annapolis Valley with high temperatures near 1 degree. And on the south shore of Nova Scotia and in the southwest, the high temperatures between 1 and 3. Let's take a look at the extended forecast for New Brunswick. For the end of the weekend, a mixture of flurries and showers coming through on Sunday. And then on Monday, it's a mix of sun and cloud, temperatures a little bit colder. Looking at a period of snow or flurries Tuesday night into Wednesday of next week. So we might get a little bit of a fresh snowfall there for Christmas, which is coming up, of course, on Thursday. Looking like a mix of sun and cloud, chilly right now for New Brunswick. Snow possible after that on Friday. For Nova Scotia and the outlook coming up for Sunday, a mixture of showers and flurries moving through. Flurries in the forecast for Monday. And then on Tuesday night into Wednesday, that's when a round of snow could pass across the province. A little bit early for amounts right now. Might be a general 5 to 15 centimeters. That'll bring us a chance of flurries on Thursday and Friday, a mix of sun and cloud. And for Prince Edward Island coming up, it's showers for the end of the weekend, followed by flurries for Monday. Tuesday night into Wednesday, we could see a round of snow move through, followed by a chance of flurries for Christmas Day and for Boxing Day as well on the Friday. Todd.
It's going to be a white Christmas.
There's a good shot of it.
You can feel it. Okay, thanks. Next, we'll talk about big holiday releases at the theaters, and we have this story in entertainment.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy, KO. We are right here at Lot 6, and I'm here to invite you to Club 6 New Year's Eve Solstice Edition. Stay tuned for more info coming right up.
Okay, so Alex and I, we are on vacation. We want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Feels so good. Merry Christmas, you know. I might as well just point at this shirt.
You had to show me up.
Friday films and some big titles for the holidays. CTV film critic Richard Krause is our guide this evening. Good to see you, Richard.
Nice to see you, Todd. Thanks for having me.
Okay, the Hollywood hit machine is churning hard. Let's start with the biggest, Avatar: Fire and Ash. Here's a look.
You want to spread your fire across the world. You need me.
Okay, so this is an epic across all definitions, I would think, right? But
it sure is, and they expect it to make about $300 million globally this weekend.
Wow.
So we'll see how it does. It's 3 hours and 20 minutes long. But it is phenomenal looking. It delivers a shot of dopamine through your eyes right into your brain that'll get your synapses dancing while you're watching this thing. It's in 3D, and James Cameron has spent 20 years or more working on these films, creating the planet of Pandora, creating the people and the belief systems and all that stuff, the traditions. Yeah. And it all comes to fruition here in Avatar: Fire and Ash, which is a spectacular looking movie. Now, story-wise,
there's the rub.
Yeah,
there's
a but here.
Yeah.
And that is that the story feels kind of familiar, like we've seen it before in the other two films. And the dialogue is straight out of 1950s B movies. So, you know, judge as you will, but as a movie-going experience in terms of just, you know, pure cinema, sitting in an audience, watching this on the biggest screen possible, it will kind of blow your mind. The 3D is phenomenal. You don't see that so much anymore, and James Cameron has it down to an art.
All right. Interesting that that comes out right after this potential merger with Netflix, where we're talking about, you know, is there a future for cinema going? All right. The next one, if you like 2 hours or so of yelling, can there be anything better than SpongeBob SquarePants? Here's the fourth film.
Long ago, one sailor fell under a wicked curse. The only way to lift this curse is to find the world's most innocent soul.
I'm ready.
This is a little sponge engine that could. I mean, this thing has been a success for a very long time.
Oh, I'm positive that there are parents who are now taking their kids to see this movie who were kids when this started, when the television show started, and they probably loved it then, and then they still love it because it's absurd, it's silly, it is there for one reason only, and that is to make you laugh. And so there's a joke every 4 seconds. If you don't like one or two of them, doesn't matter. Wait 4 seconds, there'll be another one coming along right afterwards. And one of the things about SpongeBob that I've always really liked is that he's just this little ray of light. He's a beacon of hope and optimism and joyfulness. So you put him in the middle of the story, let silly stuff happen around him, and you walk out of the theater feeling pretty good. I saw this in an audience full of adults with kids, and the kids got up and applauded, like literally gave it a standing ovation after it was over. It was pretty great.
That's great, like Saturday afternoon at the movies. All right, a couple of big names in the psychological thriller Housemaid. Here it is.
Hi, Millie. Hi, Mrs. Winchester. Oh, please call me Nina. Come on in. So why do you want this job? I just really enjoy being a housemaid.
Aw, geez. I already know where this is going.
Well, or do you? Now, this is a movie that has more twists and turns than an old mountain road. Sydney Sweeney stars as a young woman who's been in jail. She's on parole. She needs a place to live. She needs a job. And she thinks that she finds the perfect thing when she becomes a live-in housemaid for Amanda Seyfried and her family in this beautiful home. She's got a room. The salary's okay. But there are some secrets lurking behind the perfect veneer here. And so I will tell you nothing more than that, because the pleasure of this movie is about the discovery of it. Amanda Seyfried, though, of all the cast, Amanda Seyfried is the one who seems to understand that she's in a pulpy, kind of silly movie, but that if you embrace the twists and the turns and the ridiculousness of it, you'll probably have a pretty good time of it, because she certainly was. So The Housemaid is in theaters this weekend.
There's that old device, right? You close the mirror. No, she's right there. Heavens.
Yeah.
Okay, this next one has an interesting cast as well. Canadian Will Arnett, Laura Dern. I wouldn't have thought of them together. A struggling couple in Is This Thing On?
I think I'm getting a divorce. What tipped me off was that I'm living in an apartment on my own.
I almost think of Will Arnett now less as an actor and more, we think of the podcasts, you see him on the TV ads.
Yeah.
He's kind of famous for being famous. How is he in this?
Well, that might change after this movie. So he has been the voice of 1,000 commercials, probably more than that. He is the voice of BoJack Horseman. He was in Arrested Development, the voice of Lego Batman. Now he's taking a dramatic role where he plays a man who's in the midst of a divorce from Laura Dern. They were together for many, many years. They got stale, so they've decided to split. And he finds out by fluke that if you sign up to do a set at a comedy club, you don't have to pay the cover. So he agrees to do it, and he gets on stage and he starts talking about his life and his divorce, and he finds it cathartic. He finds that it's a good therapy for him, and that's the push and pull of it. I won't tell you anything more than that. What I liked about this is that he has not done stand-up comedy before, so we're getting to see Will Arnett learn how to do stand-up comedy as his character does as well, and it works really well. It's a 4 out of 5 star movie for me.
Oh, okay, good. We'll leave it there, Richard. Merry Christmas. Thank you for your time, and we'll look forward to an entertaining New Year.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, and Merry Christmas.
We'll take a time out. We'll be right back. Medical news now, and Health Canada is clamping down on chemicals and equipment used to make illegal drugs. CTV's Amanda Debison has more in the Friday edition of Your Lifeline.
Health Canada is tightening the rules on chemicals and equipment used to make drugs such as fentanyl and meth, hoping to curb the illicit industry.
The changes will require companies to report suspicious purchases and take steps to prevent diversion. Ottawa is also restricting access to pill presses and requiring registration for some imported parts. Officials say illegally produced fentanyl is behind most overdose deaths in Canada. Health authorities worldwide have approved a drug treatment for stroke that was pioneered at the University of Calgary. Researchers conducted a clinical trial with 1,600 patients on tenecteplase, a drug that's already used for heart attacks. They found it's an effective clot-busting drug for strokes, too. Administered with an IV, it saves time in situations where every minute counts.
That is a game changer. That means that anybody with an acute stroke can actually get a life-saving treatment in just 5 seconds if they're eligible for that treatment.
Researchers say the drug is helpful for stroke patients seeking care at rural hospitals. They can get the medication before they're taken by ambulance to a larger hospital. Finally, for people who are deaf or hard of hearing, these AI glasses may be helpful. This wearable device connects the user with a real-time speech-to-text app. It captures live audio from a room or within a conversation and transcribes it into text. The AI glasses are especially popular with users who find their hearing aids aren't always helpful. The smart glasses are called X-ray glasses, and the latest version is capable of real-time translation in 300 languages. They retail for about $1,300 Canadian. With Health and Medical News, I'm Amanda Debison for the Lifeline.
Friday night on the scene with Katie Kelly. Hi there.
Hi, Todd.
This New Year's Eve, one downtown space is becoming more than just a party.
Yes, that's right, Todd. It's also a platform for local artists.
Okay.
This New Year's Eve, you're invited to a different kind of party.
Here, this beautiful dining experience turns into a boiler room, sneak easy-esque type of vibe that is so lively and so full of energy. It blows my mind every time.
Halifax restaurant Lot 6 transforms into Club 6 Solstice Edition.
Just really kind of creating that culture where you never really know who's gonna pop out, who you're gonna see, or what you're gonna hear at these events.
It's the vision of local artist and DJ KO.
It's more than just a party. It's become a curated, immersive experience for our audience. It's become a platform not only for the artists, but also for the community. And we curate it down to the T, from the lighting, to the dress code, to the theme that night, to the signature cocktails that we prepare exclusively for these events.
And the music is just as intentional, built as a real-time platform for local talent.
If you got a rollout going, if you got an album going, come here, premiere it at Solstice.
So are you inviting artists to come do that?
Every single time we have special guests coming through to do that. We also do special like Solstice radio remixes of some of their songs.
We want people to come and feel like they can showcase their talent and, you know, give people a little bit of a stepping stone if they want to continue to build their music career. This is a great place to do it.
Joining KO behind the decks is fellow DJ Batty. Together they trade off sets, blending Afrobeat, groovy house, R&B, dancehall, and more.
I just love getting people excited for something, especially these days and this time of year. Things can be a little drab, a little dreary, so I like bringing a fun and positive attitude to people's life.
And on New Year's Eve, they promise an extra special experience.
Oh man, it's gonna be the party of the ending of the year. Like, we're ready to ring in 2026. It's gonna be a really big fun time. We're pulling out all the stops this time, so don't miss it.
That looks great.
Doesn't it look so much fun?
Sure does.
I can't wait. And because Club 6 Solstice Edition, there are tickets, but I don't think there's a ton of tickets. There's limited available is what we'll say. We've got a link on our website, so if you want to go, get your tickets soon. But yeah, such a cool concept, such a cool idea.
Very good.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
You're going to have probably a parade of guest hosts with you next week. I'm taking some time off.
Let's hug.
Christmas.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you, dear. And
that's the first time we did that on TV.
There will be lots of not the last. There'll be lots of entertainment, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. We'll be right back. Here's what's on CTV tonight.
Morning
Mornings with Aaron and Peter.
Weekdays at 7, you can win $1,000 with the $1,000 Minute.
10 questions in 60 seconds to win, and you can get the answer to question number 10 on our podcast.
On the markets, the Dow Jones wrapped up what turned out to be a largely positive week. It finished the day 183 points up. More of a rebound for the big tech businesses today, led by news from Oracle. Here's BNN Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez.
Oracle stock moved up close to 7% today. After news, it will be one of several companies buying a stake in TikTok. ByteDance is the parent company of TikTok. Oracle, Silver Lake, and MGX will each take a 15% stake of the U.S. ByteDance operation. The U.S. had demanded some American ownership of the Chinese company because of national security concerns. The deal is expected to close in January. Retail sales in Canada fell 0.2% between September to October to just under $70 billion. Canadians scaled back spending on clothing, food, and drinks. Sales dropped the most in Quebec and Alberta, but increased in New Brunswick, with more vehicle and parts being purchased. BlackBerry shares fell by double digits today after the Canadian company reported earnings on Thursday. Analysts say the company beat revenue expectations, but there are concerns about the growth slowing down. BlackBerry, an early innovator of mobile phones, now focuses on cybersecurity and embedded software. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 72.46. West Texas Intermediate is up to 56.66. Western Canadian Select is up to 42.85. And the TSX gained 314 points today for another record close of 31,755. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Kellen Mitchell voluntarily went outside. I promise you we didn't force it.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm getting away with the umbrella out here as well because our weather deck happens to be sheltered a little bit from a southerly wind. And remember as well that the peak winds for the Halifax area not really expected to reach us until between around 10 p.m. and midnight. I can hear the winds, though, just a street over, going pretty good. So let's take a look at our viewer picture for tonight. We had a drone shot of this area a little bit earlier this week. This is Barishois and Cape Breton. This was sent in from Denise Clarkson. This was sent in from yesterday when it was a beautiful sunny day. Of course, conditions there quite different during the day today and, of course, for tonight and tomorrow for the Barishois area. Might be a few showers that move through, but it's still going to be windy. The wind direction, though, will change. It'll be out of the west, but 4 parts of Cape Breton could have some gusts of 60 to 80 kilometers per hour. So day planner for tomorrow, start of the day around the region, a scattering of some flurries and showers. In the afternoon, there should be a bit more sunshine, but as I mentioned, still expected to be windy. Let's find out what's coming up next week on Your Morning Atlantic.
Monday on Your Morning Atlantic, holiday etiquette. The most polite person we know, etiquette expert Julie Blais-Comeau, will join us to share her tips on avoiding any festive faux pas this season. Start your morning with us Monday on CTV2 and Crave.
Finally tonight, a giant gingerbread house inspired by the house in the movie Home Alone was unveiled in Los Angeles. And yes, you guessed right, Disney is behind this with the goal to break the 2013 Guinness World Book record for largest gingerbread house. It's made from 2,600 kilos of flour, 4,200 eggs, and 4,400 gingerbread brick tiles. It's being held together with 20 gallons of edible glue. They hope to break the record. That's our look at the day here at home. CTVNewsAtlantic.ca has our weekend reporting. I'm off for a few days, so I want to take the time to wish you a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. We're going to leave you tonight with snowy scenes of New Brunswick and the names of all my colleagues who bring you the show every night. I'm Todd Battis. Have a great night.
CTV News, the Maritimes' #1 newscast. Watch live on Crave.